Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a bookshelf tour, and this is something that was requested by someone. I believe it was Margot Gabriella, but I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And she asked on one of my videos last week if I could do a bookshelf tour, and I've been asked that in the past as well, and my general reaction has been to say no. And that's just because I don't love how my bookshelves are set up. In my dream world, I would have like floor to ceiling bookshelves, all matching, all next to each other in a row, and all of my spines would fit like vertically and next to each other, all lined up nicely, and they would be in some kind of like organized order. But as it is at the moment, my bookshelves don't match. They're not big enough to hold all of the books that I have, and I don't have space for any more bookshelves. I feel like there's no point in organizing them in a particular order because they don't fit properly anyway. So they're kind of just all over the place. They don't look pretty because there are like books in double layers, and there's other stuff on the shelves as well. But I thought, you know what? That is reality. So I thought I'll just show you guys the reality of my imperfect bookshelves, because I figure a lot of you guys might be in the same boat of you don't have the like setup that a lot of booktubers do when they stand in front of their shelves and they're all like perfect and matching. So yeah, just gonna get straight into it. So you guys might remember from my book unhaul challenge, I talked about how I managed to get all of the books off of my floor. I do, however, still have books on top of my printer. It's a really big printer, so I have like a lot of binders for uni stacked on there. In this pile here, these are mostly all of my books for this semester. I'm studying English at university, so I have a lot of books for that. The Cruel Prince is also in there just because that was the one book left over from that unhaul. The rest of the books have gone to friends and family and to a charity shop as well. But that book, I have a particular friend that I need to give that to, but she lives in a different town, so I'm just going to hold on to it until then, so it's kind of just there to be out of the way. These are the books from my recent book haul. There are library books, which generally if I have library books I kind of keep them separate from my own shelves. So somewhere like here on top of my printer is a fine place for them to be. And then these books are my uni books for next semester from that haul, and I just haven't found a place for these yet. But to be honest, once these books go away, these ones will probably go up there. So that's that spot. This is my small bookshelf. It's a very short one. There's just 4 little shelves in it. So I'll just show you the things that I like hanging on the sides first. This dream catcher was from my popper. I think it's really beautiful. These feathers used to be bright purple, but I did used to have this in a window, so they've faded a lot, but it's still really beautiful, really pretty. This is a little Pahudakawa flower. This was from my brother a few years ago, and I just think it's very pretty. On this side, these are those like crystal things you hang in your window. The one with the butterflies I'm pretty sure my grandparents gave me, and then this one was one that I made when I was in primary school. I've got Almost Midnight by Rainbow Rowell and Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. And then behind there, on top, there is Hururumai and Strange Resting Places, which are a couple of plays that I've had to read for uni. There's Dream Hunter by Elizabeth Knox, which is a YA novel that's really cool. It's YA fantasy. Then we have all of these YA contemporaries, I think. Aside from The Wind City, they're all YA contemporaries. On this shelf it's more like YA and children's lit. There's the Illuminae Files series, I love them. On top we have a copy of The Tempest, and then there's These Broken Stars. I have this whole trilogy, but I just haven't had like space to put them next to each other, so this one's over here. You'll see the other ones later. Then on this next shelf, at which point I am sitting on the floor, we have Fiddleback by Elizabeth Honey. This is from the Stella Street series. I think this is the second book, and this one here, Cauldron Bay, is the third book. I don't have the first one. Then we have this book, which is a copy of Black Beauty with illustrations, and this one is Alice in Wonderland with illustrations. This is Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson. It's a really cool like classic kids adventure book. What is this on top? Okay, this is the Pink Fairy book. This was my mum's when she was a kid. And then we've got a lot of classic children's books like Black Beauty, Peter Pan, The Wizard of Oz, Alice in Wonderland, Winnie the Pooh. There's a copy of Trainspotting. Then on this bottom shelf, which is the hardest one to show you by far because it's like right on the floor, I've got a copy of the Mean Girls book. And then in here These books are all like stacked up to the top, which makes it really hard to show them to you. It's also very dark, so I apologize for that, but that's just the way it is. So I've got The Catcher in the Rye on top there, and these books are kind of crammed in, so it's kind of hard to get them out. Under that I've got Dracula, and then the absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian by Sherman Alexie. Had to read that for uni. I've got The Great Gatsby. What is this? An American Tragedy. That's one of my all-time favorites. So good. Frankenstein. Something under here that's tucked in. See, these are just like crammed in. It's terrible. I've got Lord of the Flies, Howl, which is a poetry collection. I've got To the Lighthouse, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, some poetry by John Keats, Portuguese by Patricia Grace, and Bully Basher by Witi Ihimaera. Those are New Zealand like literary fiction. There's another Sherman Alexie book that's a book of short stories, which I read for uni like a long time ago. And then what do we have here? I think this is The Woman in White, yes, which is a really, really good classic. It's very mysterious. Got Of Mice and Men and Pale Fire by Vladimir Nabokov. So a lot of those books were like uni / just classics. So then these next two shelves next to it are Will's shelves, so he has a lot of stuff on them. I apologize for the light in the background. These books are stacked on top of one of Will's shelves, and it's just space for books where they wouldn't fit anywhere else. So I've got The Art of Harry Potter. This is a gigantic book. It's so beautiful, but it's huge. And then I have the illustrated edition of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I only have this one so far. I want to get the other two that are out at the moment, but this one I got for like $30 at the warehouse. It was on sale, so I grabbed it. I have a copy of the Bible, and I have Dreamquake by Elizabeth Knox, which is the sequel to Dream Hunter, which was over on the other shelf. Moving on to my main bookshelf, and this is the one that you guys see in the background of my videos. On the top of it I have a lot of my Harry Potter merch. So on this top shelf, if I can show you, these books are totally just a random assortment of everything. I've got Kylo Ren on here as well. I'm going to take him off so I can show you the books that are there, but he just chills out there. I love him because he looks so scary. Then we also have Harry Potter in his sorting hat. The other pop vinyls I have on here are from Mean Girls. There's Regina and Katie. I really want to get Gretchen and Karen as well, but I haven't yet. Then these bookends my brother gave me for Christmas, and it's just like a little sausage dog. I think it's the cutest thing. I can't wait to be able to set this up like in a space someday, like on a mantle or something, where I can have like a whole lot of books in between them and stretch them right out. But I generally just put like the couple of books that I'm currently reading or about to read. So I'm currently reading The Ripper by Carmelo Anaya. This is really good so far. I'm nearly halfway. And then I'm hoping to reread Simon vs. the Homo sapiens agenda soon as well. I also forgot I have Dumbledore up here too. Yep. So he chills in that space because, yeah, he fits. These books here, I've got Harry Potter Film Wizardry, which I love. I've got a Piratology book, which is just like a fun, like, it's not a pop-up book, but it's got like interactive things and stuff. It's a really cool but giant book. I've got random books up here, the Divergent series. These are kind of a total mixture of books. At some point I had this shelf as one of like books that I wanted to reread or books that I haven't read. So most of these are ones that I want to reread. I haven't read House of Leaves. I've started, but it's just such a daunting book that I've, you know, it's been there for a while. A lot of these are books that I've read in the past, but I don't particularly remember a lot about them. Aside from Three Musketeers, that's just an all-time favourite. This one I haven't read, The Two Marias. I have all these John Green books. I've read Turtles All the Way Down, but none of these. I got them from a library sale, as you can see from the like tags on them there, and I haven't read them yet, but they're sitting there ready for me to read. And then I have The Fractured Light, which is the third book in the Starbound trilogy. A lot of these books I've read in the past, but I'd like to reread them. I've had them like for a very long time. So moving down to the second shelf here. This one is a bit chaotic as well, as you can see. So I'm just going to start with the front layer. I have these coasters here. That's just because this shelf is right next to the bed, so I tend to have like a bottle of water or a cup of tea, something on here, so that just protects the shelf. Then I have this book, which I've read it's like a book of short stories. I've read a few of them. This is actually Will's book, but it just sits here when I feel like picking it up. It's the Blumhouse Book of Nightmares. I have all of the Animorphs books that I've collected, and behind there Babysitter's Club books as well. So these are series that I loved as a kid that I've been recollecting from secondhand stores, and I've gotten a lot of the Animorphs books. Like, there aren't a whole lot left that I need to get still, but the Babysitter's Club I've only got, like, as you can see, like a handful. I wish I had space to like organize all of these and have them all in the right order and stuff as well, but one day. Up on top of here, just because there's space, I have my little magnetic bookmarks. A lot of these were from the Sticker Alley. She's changed her shop name, but I can't remember what she's changed it to. But there's some like Shadowhunters ones, Gilmore Girls, and Harry Potter as well. I love those. Then there's this random book that I got from a secondhand store about stars, and I just think that's cool. Moving into this stack that is just kind of precariously on the edge there, because this is just a space that needed filling. So I've got Wonder, The Goldfinch, Carry On. These are books that I've gotten like quite recently. Pride and Prejudice, and I believe this is Jane Eyre, Picture of Dorian Gray, Why Does the Guy So See, The Lady of the Camellias, The Bell Jar. All of these are books that I have read and love, so they're just there because they fit there. I haven't read this one yet, Alpine Ballad. Dead Souls, I need to reread. I read that years and years ago, but I don't really remember anything about it. That's one that I've read. I've read Goodbye Perfect as well. I'm going to try and clear these away so that we can see what's behind them. Behind that stack of books there are more books. I haven't read most of these actually. I haven't read this stack here. That one is Emma by Jane Austen. These like old secondhand copies, it's like really hard to read what's on the spine. Read these two, love them. I've got my Shakespeare anthology and the Anthology of American Literature. Passage to India, haven't read that one. Haven't read The Politics, or I might have read bits of that. I haven't finished it though. And then The Bone People is a like New Zealand classic. I haven't read that one either. There's just a couple of random book depository bookmarks in there as well. On the next shelf it kind of gets even more chaotic, and it's going to be like interesting pulling all of these things out. On top of here I have a bunch of bookmarks. Most of these, it looks like a lot, but most of them are from Book Depository, and then I've got some other like favorite ones as well. If you guys have a good way of storing bookmarks, let me know, because it kind of drives me crazy. They get like all caught up in between books and stuff, and yeah, I need to figure out a better way to store them. But I've got my Harry Potter books there, which underneath them we've got the Tales of Beedle the Bard, Fantastic Beasts, and The Cursed Child as well. And then I have The Fat Man by Murawski, just because it's little and it fit there. Illustrated History of Notable Shadowhunters. Love that book. It's a really beautiful illustrated book. Then we've got Sherlock Holmes and a really nice copy of Peter Pan. Got Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, The Gentleman's Guide, Molly Moon book, the rest of them are behind there. Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, that second book in the Starbound trilogy, a replica book. I loved these books as a kid, and I found this one at a secondhand store, and I'd love to find more of them, but this is the only one that I've come across so far. Behind here, like, look at how nice that looks. Imagine if my whole bookcase, like, I mean, it's still not perfect, it's very like lopsided and these books are just hanging out, but it looks so much better when it's just one layer. So all of these are little black classics, and I have more of those up the top there as well. Then I've got all of my Shadowhunter books. So there's the Infernal Devices. That one at the top was underneath, but it's such an effort to put that one back underneath because I have to move all of these. So it's just chilling up there. But there's the Mortal Instruments series as well, and then the Shadowhunters Codex and the Bane Chronicles. Love the Bane Chronicles. I really want to reread that sometime. I've got the rest of the Molly Moon books, the Matched trilogy, the Maze Runner series, and then the Silence of the Lambs books. Finally, we get to the last shelf, which again is basically on the floor. This one is actually a lot of nonfiction. This has kind of remained that way since I last kind of reorganized my shelves. Somehow this one's managed to like hang on to its non-fictionness. So firstly, in front there's this recipe journal. This is a really handy thing. It's got some like set recipes already written in it, but then it's just got blank pages for you to write recipes on. So me and Will use this basically every day because it's got all of our like standard go-to recipes written in it. Then I have this Kayla Itzines Bikini Body Motivation and Habits Guide. I essentially bought this book for the recipes as well because let me just show you some of the pictures and stuff. They looked really good and most of it is recipes, so love that. This, I won't pull it out too much, but this is a scrapbook that was my Nana's recipe book. So I have that in here and there's really great baking recipes in that one. I have a Vogue magazine from when I was in the US. There's all of my Runaways comics as well, and then there is this like Harry Potter special edition of a Time magazine. On top here is a bunch of non-fiction books. It's just like a variety. I won't talk about all of them, but yep, there are some fiction books in here as well. We've got The Girl with the Pearl Earring, which I love, The Tale of IP and the Investigator, and the Bridget Jones books because I love them. This little dark corner is the rest of my non-fiction books. This is the Edmonds Cookbook. If you're a New Zealander, you will recognise this. It's one of the best recipe books of all time. This is a really old copy that my mum gave me. There's more non-fiction books there. Bygone Badass Paws, I love that book. Fantastic Beasts, Harry Potter colouring book. This is a reference book for uni. There's a cookbook. There's actually a bunch of cookbooks. These are all cookbooks as well. There's the Bling Ring and Fun Science. And a Marilyn Monroe book. This has a DVD in it as well. My brother gave that to me a long time ago, I think. And then a Sex Pistols graphic novel, and there's also under, like in here, there's a Rolling Stones photo book thing. That is it for my imperfect bookshelf tour. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and you know, I hope you don't mind that my bookshelves don't look awesome. It's fine, it works for now, and I will see you guys with another video in a couple days. Thanks for watching, bye.